Good afternoon. Welcome back to week 7, I believe, of Child Psychology Online. It is great to see you, great to spend time with you, and we are continuing our journey to, as we are now talking about, I believe, what we would call early childhood. We've come through infancy, and now we're talking about early childhood, which is going to be the time that most of us, or not most of us, but a lot of children are in preschool and getting ready for school. And those of us who are not in preschool are probably doing things at home. Remember that most important, essential element of children's development is found in playing, playing. Okay, it's where we learn how to get along with other children, where we learn how to think, how do we learn to solve problems, and how we, by playing, how we develop our ability to run and climb and throw the ball, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of physical, cognitive, and socio-emotional development that is associated with playing. And for that reason, we as the adults are now learning how to influence children in a positive way should know that and remember that it's good for children to play. It's good for children to use their imaginations. It's good for them to run around and get into things and try things, new things. And that leads us to the topic of last week's discussion that I would like to talk about today, and that's anxiety and how children develop anxiety. And y'all listed all kinds of things from the video. I think that Dr. Bialik, who you might recognize from the television show Big Bang Theory, Dr. Bialik she actually has a doctoral degree, not in child psychology, but something like in astrophysics or something like that. But she has her own children, and she is a mother, and a very good mother, I believe. And she has a lot of good things to say about parenting because she likes kids a lot, and I like kids a lot, and so that's good. But she has a lot to say about kind of relaxing and kind of taking our foot off the gas and letting the children play and develop, like the very things that I was just talking about. So Hannah mentioned, I'll start with Hannah because she was saying some really good things, really that anxiety can come from anywhere. And, though of course there is that inherited genetic factor to anxiety, but we really can see that a lot of the things that are in children's lives, their experiences, might lead them to developing some anxiety, especially if it is communicated that certain actions that they do are expectations that we give them. They must achieve those things, and they must do the right things or not do the wrong things in order to get value from us as the adults. So we have to be very careful. That's kind of the whole thing. Shanika had a really interesting illustration, if you want to look back at what she had to say about parents really putting anxiety on their children because they're not really thinking things through. As the parents, as adults, we have the things that we think are important. We don't really think how we communicate that and how that may be taken by our children. So we need to do that. Jada had some very specific examples of parents, pressuring their children. So this is more specifically what I'm talking about, putting those expectations on the children. What are we really communicating? Are we communicating that if you don't do that, that there's something wrong with you and I don't love you anymore or whatever? I mean, I don't think anybody's necessarily trying to say that, but that might be what the child is hearing. And then I'll mention also Allison, the idea of the parents really being on the children, like all over the children, and not just pressuring them, but really that level of um, intense viewing and watching and monitoring everything they do. Maybe we need to let kids just kind of explore and do things on their own without feeling like they got the eye in the sky, or big brother's watching, or whatever. Anyway, all of those don't necessarily cause all children to be anxious, but they could, and I guess that's the thing. And I've always encouraged you to consider everybody is different, and so really the answer to how to raise your child might be pay attention to the child and understand that particular child's individual needs and, I don't know, personality. That might be a good word. Temperament. Anyway, um, anxiety. Have a great week and take care of yourselves. And let's just continue this wonderful conversation about how children develop psychologically to become good adults.